October 3rd, 1993. Somalia, a date and place that would be burned into my memory forever. I was high above Mogadishu, flying in a helicopter as the city below erupted in chaos and gunfire. The streets twisted beneath us, filled with smoke, fear, and the sounds of battle. It was a city on the edge, and we were right in the heart of it. Down there, every street was a battlefield, and every rooftop flashed with muzzle fire. The enemy was everywhere, hidden in the shadows, waiting for a chance to strike. I watched it all unfold, and I knew the odds for anyone caught on the ground. The city was a maze of danger, and survival was never guaranteed. Then it happened. Super 6-4, a Black Hawk, took a direct hit and spiraled out of the sky, trailing smoke and flame. The radio crackled with panic as we watched helplessly. It slammed into a narrow street, deep in hostile territory. The wreckage was surrounded by enemies and the crew was trapped. I didn't hesitate. Someone had to get down there. Someone had to buy those men a chance. I knew what it meant, and I knew what it would cost. I gripped the radio with trembling hands, locked eyes with command, and said, "Request permission to secure the crash site." My heart pounded as I waited for a response, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. Once, twice, 3 times. Each time my voice grew more urgent. I knew the longer we waited, the slimmer the chances for those men below. Finally, I heard the answer, "Go." Relief and dread washed over me at the same time. There was no turning back now. With just my rifle and Randy Shuggart by my side, I fast roped down into a war zone. We were outnumbered, outgunned, but not out of hope. We landed in the thick of it, bullets cracking past, the air heavy with smoke and screams. No backup, no escape route. Just 2 men against a city. Every instinct screamed at us to run, but we stood our ground. We found the wreckage, battered and burning. The crew was alive, but hurt, disoriented, bleeding, afraid. Their eyes met ours, desperate for hope. Our mission was simple: hold this ground, no matter what. We set up a perimeter, knowing it was only a matter of time before the enemy closed in. Militia fighters poured in from every alley, every rooftop. First dozens, then hundreds. The city itself seemed to rise up against us, a tidal wave of hostility. The odds weren't just bad, they were impossible, but we had a job to do and we would not abandon it. But the men in that chopper needed us, so I stayed, I fought. Every shot I fired was a promise. I would not let them down. I fired until my rifle ran dry, bloodied but unbroken. My hands shook, my body screamed in pain, but my resolve never wavered. I moved from cover to cover, always putting myself between the enemy and the crew. Every second we held out was a second closer to rescue. Or so I hoped. Even after I was hit, I refused to fall back. I wasn't leaving that pilot. Pain was just another enemy to fight through. And when the last shot echoed and the smoke drifted away, I was gone. My body lay still, but my spirit stayed with those I fought to protect. But Mike Durant, the pilot, was still alive. He survived because we stood our ground, because we refused to give in, because I'd made a choice. One man's life was worth everything I had left to give. In that moment, nothing else mattered. Afterward, they gave me the Medal of Honor. Not because I won, not because I survived, but because I chose to stand and fight, knowing I wouldn't walk away. But because I chose to stand and fight, knowing I wouldn't walk away. I accepted my fate, not for glory, but for something greater. I didn't die for glory or for orders. I died for a purpose, for the men beside me, for the mission, for the hope that our sacrifice would mean something. I did it for my brothers, for duty, for the unbreakable bond that forms in the heat of battle when everything else falls away, for the hope that someone would do the same for me, that in my darkest hour I would not be left behind. This was my last stand, a stand not just for survival, but for honor, for loyalty, and for the belief that one act of courage can change everything. Remember my name, I'm Gary Gordon, Delta Force operator, Medal of Honor recipient, a man who gave everything so that others might live, and a man who volunteered for the impossible because sometimes the impossible is simply what must be done.